tiempo. Bueno, okay.
Bye.
So, welcome, Jose Luis, to the Impact Revolution channel. It's a big pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, very good. Just finished today this long week, but it's very good.
We can imagine. Yeah, you are very busy, and we also seen you a lot of big activity and very active in LinkedIn, right? Apart from the business that you probably do. So thank you so much. We are really appreciate your time on these busy periods. And yes, so the first question I would like to ask you, Jose Luis, is a bit more personal. It's about you. So someone who admires you in your life, how that person, it could be real or it could be, someone that maybe from your audience, how they will define who is Jose Luis.
Wow, very good. It depends who you are talking with, but basically, I believe most of the people think I'm completely, or not completely, let's say, different from others. So my way of think is in some point different because I don't use the normal pattern that most of the people are doing today.
Okay.
I believe it's because I have been living in several countries. I have been working in several countries. I have been working in several industries. And when you have been working in so many areas, at the end you finish with a very practical point of view. Because if I have to analyze how the business world is working today, I mean, we have big companies, let's say banks, let's say, electricity, petroleum, all these big companies. To be honest, it's really a big fake business. They make money because they control the world. But we need to forget that. We need to be focused in real companies. So companies that produce something, that they really compete in the market, that they provide service, the real, let's say the 90% of the rest of the companies. And then they have to be very practical. When I make any speak in the world, I never talk about digital transformation, because that's for me, that's very boring. I don't trust in digital transformation. Doesn't occur. Digital transformation we have seen since 1970 minimum. Okay, we have changed with technology. It is true, but the way that companies need to compete is not only in technology. Technology is a small piece. They need to compete in culture, the way they make things. They have to be very practical, not theoretical. And probably most of the people think I'm different just from that point.
Okay, all right. So is that you're different, that you think different than most of the common people, let's say, and that you have a pragmatical view on business, and just to clarify that. Very good, thank you. And now this is a more funny question, which is if you could wake up anywhere in the world, Jose Luis, now that you live so many places and you know a bit more around the world, where will you wake up?
Again in Galicia.
Galicia, eh?
You know, my parents live in one small country, a small city called Sarria in Lugo, and after really living in so many countries, still I believe Spain probably is far away the best way to be.
Okay, that's great. Very good. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Jose Luis. So now that we know you a bit more, let's go to these interview questions that are more business related and more, impactful questions. So, Jose Luis, if you were to die tomorrow, what last message would you leave to the world?
Wow, to the world. Oh my God.
To the world, to the whole world, yeah.
You know, if it has to be personal, of course, it's live the present. The past gone, and the future will know what is going to be. So let's live the present. But if you are an entrepreneur or a business guy, number one, try to be very practical. Number two, basically companies are quite simple. To succeed in any business, you only need to be able to solve a specific problem. Okay. When I found a new person, they say, "Jose Luis, I have a new idea." Okay, tell me your idea. Most of the times, nowadays, the people focus on technology. I have created an app, and I say, if you wake up every day, you do not spend your money in any app. You take coffee, you drink Coke, you go and to buy shoes or whatever. So the business is there, not in technology. So number one, you need to define, so to find a problem and then define a solution. Okay? But the solution has to be very, 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 very practical. Okay. And then if you are able to solve one problem, you will be rich. Number two, try to be different. Probably one of the best shares I can say to anybody in the world is that Michael Porter was very nice with the analysis of PyForce, and the SWOT analysis is also very good too. But for me, it's more simple. The ones I prefer is to define what are your order qualifier and which one is your winner. So, in other words, when you have defined something to beat in the market, then you need to define what is your order qualifier. So, what is the minimum requirements you will need to have to compete in the market? When you have defined, you have your product. Then you need to select which one is going to be your order winner. So why the people is going to select you? Why? So what is your really difference? And when I say really, sometimes the people say, no, my difference is quality. No, to be honest, quality is good enough, let's say, but it's not the big advantage you have. You need to be focused in what the customer really realize when they see or they buy your product or they consume your product. So which is you really different? And then try to be focused in this. And third, try to do something different. Let me give you an example of today. I call the wow effect. And this is sometimes curious. Sometimes it's very easy to impact in the perception of the customer. This morning, I took a coffee, I drink coffee every day, and like it's so hot, I order coffee with ice. And look at that, it's amazing. You see, the ice was coffee.
That's cool, eh? Yeah, that's something.
Look, it's so simple, really. So simple that it was really unbelievable. So sorry, let me do something and then I'm back again. Sorry, because it was the
camera was a bit blurry. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. That's better. Thank you.
Okay, so it was so simple, but so different. I mean, because at the end, if you put normal ice with your coffee, at the end you are mixing, water with coffee.
Definitely. That was a very interesting example.
So simple, and the impact is so great, really.
And how did you call this third point? You say
wow factor or something
wow
like
factor.
Wow
factor. Yeah, wow factor. Yeah, okay.
You are able to be different from the market.
Yeah, yes. I got you now. Yeah, thank you.
And at the end, you need to be different in some way. Let me also give you another example. Today, the people talk a lot about, customer relationship management, blah, 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 but it is pretty funny. It is true today with technology, with social media, we are able to attract more customer. But what do we do with our customer at the end? When we have the customer in our company, we are very bad with them. So for me, the key element is not the marketing one-to-one. No, it's the marketing one-to-one. So once you have the customer in your company, you need to be very good face-to-face with the customer.
Definitely, relationship, working on the relationship.
The real relationship, that is people.
It's emotions. It's about emotional connection. Yeah, trust.
Now, let me put you an example. Banks are closing the retail network. That's for me a big mistake. It is true you don't need to go to a bank to make a transfer. It is true. You don't need to go to a bank for whatever, but especially if you want to, if you're a banker and you need to sell something to somebody, you cannot do with an app. You need to talk face to face with the customer.
Definitely,
That kind of practical things is what I'm missing in the companies. Today, the companies are focusing technology, and I don't think technology is the big impact. You know,
I think I agree with you.
But it's not your competitive advantage. Now it's even more. Now thinking century 21. Well, we are in century 21. We have technology. Now we have seen a satellite that is able to see what happened 13,000 millions of years ago, you know, with the galaxies we have seen. You know, it's okay, it's fantastic, amazing. But still companies, they didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Today we have a fixed salary. Is fixed salary is like, sorry, what are you talking about? So I'm an employment. You are giving me a fixed salary for a fixed time of period. It's stupid. Fixed salary is something in the century 19 or even 20, but not in 21.
In the industrial revolution, yeah.
To pay based on real result. The people will make more money far away, and they will work less time. Why? Because if you only pay for result, the people is not going to lose time creating PowerPoint, creating stupid network activities, or you know, the typical meetings. That the meeting is like 3 hours, only one guy talking, the other listening, another typing a PowerPoint. I mean, we lose a lot of times in the companies.
Definitely.
I mean, the companies need to understand what is the real value. Of course, there is some people in the infrastructure, then you need to pay a fixed salary, but it's for people that they don't add value. Let's say transaction. Imagine a worker who is working in a factory, it is good, but the rest of the people, you should pay based on result. Of course, it's smart result. You know, smart goals means specific, measurable, assignable, realistic, and timetable. But this is, for example, a simple way to communicate to the companies that even we are in 20th century, 21st century, still they are not there. They're still thinking, technology. Now people talking about the metaverse. You know, that's for me so very funny. Sorry, really, still we are far away from that. We need to be.
Yeah, well, and I don't think that will solve, you know, the social issue that we were actually. I think it's going to get worse. You know, the social connection and all this isolation and you know, more core business and more automation. So I don't think it will go very far. Or if it go far, it will be very bad. I think for the companies and for the people. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing. It's very interesting. So last message will be live the present, and for the business, be practical. And you give us some recommendations, very useful recommendations. And now I wanted to talk, what will be your biggest lesson learned, Jose Luis, for now, yeah, in your career about businesses, you know, and about that you could share with the startups and entrepreneurs that could help them the most?
I mean, a lot of this, a lot of lesson learned. But for me, the most simple is the more simple the companies are, the best. You know, I love lean methodology. It's try to eliminate the waste. So you need to be more simple as possible. I always put the example of Inditex. Probably, you know, is the fastest company in the world, not cost technology. Even they need the technology, of course, to manage so big amount of data, and that's, but it's because the way they work very, very, very simple. Number two, I
like that.
When you want to impact in a company, you only have 3 elements: sales, margin, and cost. Nothing else. But then if you analyze, most of the people are focused on sales. Of course, it's critical. You need to sell more. But at the end, if you analyze, for let's say, if it is the segment, the biggest impact is the operation, so the cost. Let me put you in numbers. If a company of 30% margin, you are able to decrease the cost by 4% only, it's equivalent to increase sales by 10%. Unbelievable. And a lot of companies are focused on sales. Yes, of course, you need to increase sales. You need to have a biggest market far away. But most of the companies, they forget how to make the sales. So operation is far away the big area of improvement in any company. Of course, First, you need to have a product we have mentioned before that solve a problem and is good in the market, and you have another winner that you are able to compete. Okay, but then now, once you have that market, you need to have a strong operation, very simple, to fulfill the demand. And in that case, you need to be very, 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 very practical. And sometimes practical is not only technology. That's, for example, I love when the people still believe we are going to be delivered by drones in a city. It's not possible. And it's very fun because in 2013, Amazon launched a video on YouTube saying we are going to deliver using drones. You know, it was 15 days before Black Friday for advertisement. But it's not practical. It's impossible to deliver within a city with drones. It's far away more practical with a real guy, with a bicycle, or something with an electric motorbike or whatever. Because at the end of the last mile, you cannot deliver with drones because it's not practical, because in a building, the drone cannot drop in the 5th floor or something like that. Again, sometimes simple things, trying to be very practical, it is something that works and companies forget.
I like that, you know, because less is more, you know, is one of our, you know, slogan that we use normally, because it is what it takes us, the waste that you call as well. And that's, I completely agree with that. Yeah. And it also gives more peace and more focus. And also, you know, I was working on my first engineering job. I know you also are an engineer in the past. In this company, in the consultancy company that was global, when they did a study, right, they found out that if this happens many times, is the Pareto law, yeah, the 20% of the clients give 80% of the results and the revenue. Okay, so it is important. It is important, and it gives us much more focus for sure, and focus on the important. I wanted to ask you, when I ask you to think about someone successful, Jose Luis, who comes to your mind?
I'm not talking about like I want to be polite. Any women in the world that they have kids and work at the same time. Unbelievable. Cool. That's for me. With, any women in the world today that works and at the same time have kids is amazing. And you know, you say, no, but also men take care about kids. Yes, it is true. But in the way we work every day, and if you think when you have kids, even they are more focused on women than the men, just because you know the nature. And the effort they have to do is bigger than the men, not because the man doesn't want to work. In some cases, yes, but it's not general. But it's because it is more difficult for them to work. So for me, with any down, any women in the world with kids that work is fantastic.
Very good.
And second, for me, succeed, of course, it's personal, whatever. But at the end, as a worker, also, we need to think in century 21. And we are in a century that it is the end of employment, the beginning of work. So I'm going to repeat. I don't think we are going to live in a world with a lot of employment. We are going to have work. And that's why people who work by project or work like an interim manager, that you know is my main activity today. I actually have a book about interim managers. And it's not the future, it's the real present. I mean, why do you want to be hired full-time for just one company? No. If you are good enough, you would like to work in a world that you have different clients, different customers, and you provide different service for different companies. So you work by projects. And I think
and projects, definitely.
The work is going to work in the future. Because
I think it's starting. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's why our channel also focus on startups and entrepreneurs, right? Because that's why we think the world is evolving, you know, and people in the workforce report from Gallup, they say that they are disconnected, the majority, and stressed, and because they also don't have this fulfillment of this feeling, that it's like what you said before, yeah, just working for a salary and for a fixed salary, it doesn't give any motivation to people, and people are demanding more and they want more. Yeah.
We
Very
need to
good.
change that mentality. That's why that's for me a pity that when the people are still talking about digital transformation, and the most simple things is how you work every day. Still nobody has improved anything. And now also we need to think about how it's going, what is going to happen in the next years. I remember at the beginning of 21st century, I have been talking that the paper will disappear. Paper is no sense. And I remember that the newspaper, I said, the people is not going to read any more newspaper. And the people criticized me a lot. And in 2013, I remember it was very funny. I had the first speech about the electric cars. And the people was laughing about me. And I was like, no, Jose Luis. Because I remember I have, of course, a petroleum car in that moment. And the first time I drove an electrical car, I was really, really crying. Because I couldn't believe the incredible torque, instant torque that any electric vehicle has. And even not only the torque, but then you don't need to repair. The maintenance is almost zero. It's far away faster. It's absolutely no noise at all, no vibration. So it's far away much better, And definitely, I remember I said in 2020, all the brands we have electrical car and say, come on, still people is going to, no, I was right. I said 2025, so in 3 years time from now, okay, something between 40 to 50% of worldwide production will be full electric. I'm not talking about hybrid, full electric.
Yes.
And right now, I part of the advisor force in Spain, and we talked several times about the electrical cars. Today, Porsche is 20% of all the cells in the world is full electric, and it's Porsche. And they predict in 2025 they will have 50%. And this is a good example why a company so strong in the market, far away one of the best brands in the world, they have understood and they completely changed their strategy. And right now they are leading in Europe and especially in Spain the electric vehicle. Amazing. Besides Tesla, of course, Tesla was the
biggest, the market capitalization.
It was started, but now there's companies that they are not followed, but there's company as Porsche, for example, today, that they right now they are leading the market. And they are the leaders.
We have to get, I think, used to be more proactive in terms of what is changing, right? And the tendency that we can see and we can interpret those and prepare for the future, right? Like you are saying, and definitely agree with that. I wanted to ask you.
What I would say is do not read magazines or television. The big magazines and television, when you are reading a news of any company, the people don't know that is the company behind who have paid for this advertisement. So in other words, most of the time you are reading a news in any magazine in the world, it's like a newsletter of the company. So it's a fake.
I totally agree with you, and I think that doesn't bring happiness,
No, they are not going to tell you the truth. So that's why you need to listen and observe independent people who's going to tell you the truth. That's why you can predict what is going to happen in the future. Because today, as you can imagine, the automotive industry, that they have the old version still working, they are not going to tell you that in 3 years' time, they are not going to produce, because still they have a stock. So you need to go to independent people independent or knowledge.
Do our own research. Yes, basically, and don't trust the fake news or the big voices that are there just making noise and trying to deceive us, right? Yeah, completely agree with that. Thank you, Jose Luis, for sharing that. I wanted to ask you, you say something very interesting, which I completely agree. Is going to be the future about work, like freelancers or about entrepreneurs, about startups, about entrepreneurs, rather than employees, and there will be someone that has a good quality service and providing to different companies. I live in Spain after 6 years, working around, and I'm also now out of there. I went for the COVID. Yeah, I had to somewhere to be there. And I found the culture, yeah, and I know you know the culture. It's not like this, right? So it's more about funcionario, yeah, that we say in Spanish, which is like working for the public service, right, for the government, rather than this entrepreneurship mindset that maybe we can find in USA, right? So in this point, to help or Spaniards, citizens, which message will you leave to them, or how will you encourage them to do this change, to have this change of mindset?
I mean, for me, number one, I really believe, for me, I respect other people if they want to, I want to work 8 hours per day to have a fixed salary, and I don't want to complex your life. I fully agree. Yeah? I'm not something against that behavior. The problem is that there is a lot of very good people with a tremendous opportunities, tremendous skills,
potential,
but they don't deserve this, let's say, bad work. Because if your parents tell you that the best is to have a fixed salary and in a big company, then you are not understand how the world works. It's like the first is we have the bad message that we need to spend money. With the best salary, we need to buy a home or buy a car instead of invest your first salary in assets that will give you money back in the future. And it's because our mentality from our parents or from our schools were wrong when we were young. So it's exactly the same for the world.
And lack of financial education, I will say as well, right? Jose Luis, definitely. I like this investment, yeah? It's something that I also asked in the interviews. Jose Luis, in your case, what was the best investment that you have ever done? Either time, money, energy?
Knowledge. And especially the time I spend every week at IA Business School teaching. That's for me really the best moment, because when I work and I learn a lot. But when I am teaching at IA Business School, number one, we are a worldwide business school. We have 140 different countries at the same time in the school. So you learn a lot from the students. Students coming from, and it's very nice because I teach from the small, let's say the university people like 18, 19, 20 years old, to the executive level, so people 40, 50, 60. So I completely teach in all the range. I learn from everybody, and it's
different generations. That's good.
You don't teach. You really learn. The people is not aware, because when you are teaching, you are communicating, sharing ideas. We co-create knowledge.
Yes, definitely.
I can tell you, minimum 50% of my knowledge came from my students. Because a student right now in a business school is not just a person who doesn't know anything. You are really very well prepared. And I'm not talking even senior manager. I'm talking people in the university 20 years old. You cannot imagine how many people with 20 years old at IA University, they have today their own company. I remember when I study engineer, nobody has company. Right now, at IA Business School, I have a lot of students that they have their own company, even if it's a small company.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just changing. You know, it just changes. Like it's completely changing, and I like that. Yeah, thank you. I totally agree. For me, it's knowledge as well and education. Yeah, personal education and self-development. I will say, yeah, because that's what we going in the knowledge area, right? Knowledge era of the business. It's not about technology, it's about knowledge, it's about practical knowledge and practicing. Very good. Thank you so much, Jose Luis. It was a big pleasure interview you. We are at the end of the interview. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Just wanted to see if there is any last message that you will ask, that you would like to leave to these entrepreneurs and business, you know, and startups that, you know, to make the world better.
Of course, we need to take care about the principal stakeholders. Of course, we are seeing what is happening today in the world. So we need not only to make business, we need to make business with ethics, of course. This is no question. You need to impact in cash flow, of course, but with in a good way, respecting not only the climate, respecting the principal stakeholders, respecting the people, and respecting everybody in the world. And number two, I would say, you know, when I have a lot of people ask me why people succeed, and for me, I always have a message coming from Malcolm Gladwell. He said a theory of 10,000 hours. So if you want to be good in something, you need to spend at least 10,000 hours. So in other words, with any doubt, if you want to succeed, you need to be constant and work hard every day. And when I say every day, it's every single day. The more you work, the more constant you are, the best you will be, with any doubt.
I love it. Thank you so much. Persistence and resilience. That's the mindset that we need in the world for sure, and to succeed. That is the only way. Thank you so much, Jose Luis. It was a big pleasure meeting you. And yeah, so now is the end. Thank you. All the best.
Have a good day.